Hello. If the title of this video didn't give it away, this is a playthrough of Trail of the Wretched by none other than me, Xavier Bell. I was the main dev on the game. I did all the writing, all the programming, all the UI. I did a lot of things. I'll show you the credits. So I worked on it with Jason, Reagan and Quaho. Reagan did most of the 3D art and Qua did all the character art, which you'll see in a minute when we start the game. So this is basically just like a self-indulgent exercise, writer reads his own writing. But I thought it would be worthwhile to do, and it's like it's advertising. Because I want people to play this game. And in order to do that, you have to put your game on the internet. So this is that. Anyway, let's begin. Starting off, this main menu, random anecdote, not really, but if you're wondering where I got the idea, go watch Days of Heaven, the intro credits to that film, basically. I watched that and I'm like, holy moly, I need to put this in my game. And so I collated a bunch of old pictures I'd taken over the last 5 years and just threw them into Unity. Well, I demolished them in Photoshop as well to make them look old. And I think it makes for a pretty nice main menu, and it's nice within the context of the game. Once you've played the whole thing, you can look at these pictures and be like, that's representing a place I went in the game. It would be obvious now if you haven't played it, but at the end you'll come back and see that. And it's like a fun little tidbit of information. Alright, new game. Title drop? There it is. Let's begin. Alright, let's not read yet. I'm gonna read this whole thing. I won't do any accents or anything. I'll just read it in my normal voice because that's not me. But right off the bat, if you couldn't tell, I was very clearly inspired by Disco Elysium, and you'll see it even more later when the character portraits appear, but yes, Disco Elysium. I'm not trying to hide my inspiration. I basically wanted to make a game exactly like it. And that's what this is. Alright, let's start. The judder of the ship crashing through a wave wakes you. There's muffled voices above, more than usual for this time of morning. Beside your bed sits a leather case holding your camera. There it will stay, at least until you step onto land. It's time to get up. The world is waiting. Stay in bed or get up? Let's get up. You drag yourself out of bed. 3 hours of sleep, mild nausea, doesn't matter, nothing can stop you. The voices of the men above have yet to cease. Something is definitely happening. You slide off the side of your bed and get dressed. It's colder than usual, don't forget your coat. And look at that. It's one of the models made by Reagan. Very nice. You go left out the door and past the hammocks of the other sailors. They're all empty. Up the stairs, you raise your head over the edge to survey the main deck. All the sailors are lined up along the side of the ship, pointing and shouting. The captain should be around here somewhere. He's right in front of you, leaning against the mast, that shit-eating grin on his face as always. Hello, Captain Ketch. Picture man, get over here. And that's the other Disco Elysium rip-off character portraits. Although in the context of this game, it's like you're playing as a photographer, so it's sort of implied that all these pictures are ones you took yourself. And I think that's like a nice in-universe reason for the character portraits. Well, it doesn't make sense most of the time because, well, spoilers. I won't actually explain that part. Picture man, get over here. Okay. Yeah, that isn't a name. Or should we see what he wants? That's not our name. I don't know what our name is yet, but it is in our name. I have a name. Excuse me? Back down, or that isn't our name. Yeah, fuck this dude. I have a name. I'd like it if you called me that, not Picture Man. Is that so? What's my shit? Don't like it. Start swimming. That backfired. You're a weak little ant. Don't think you have any say in this matter. That's kind of like a mission statement for this game. You're a weak little ant. I think I have an obsession with ants. Yeah, I mentioned it multiple times in this game about being an ant. My next game I'm making, I've also mentioned ants like 5 times. I have to do a bit of self-reflection on that. Anyway. Yeah. What? Why is my brain telling me that? You're insignificant. A speck of dust in the cosmos. No. I think I rewrote that line like 10 times and ended up on speck of dust in the cosmos, but there are a lot of ways to tell someone they're small. I was watching a lot of Veritasium, and that's why I ended up on that one. What? Your mind goes blank. The captain stares at you, waiting for a response. You have nothing to say. You're done? Good. Make it over here so I can stop yelling. Guess we have to see what he wants. You shuffle over to the captain. It will please you to know that we're half a day from making land. It will please me. You turn to look out to the men pointing out to sea. Each and every one is a picture of decay and neglect. Stringy hair, bushy beards, uniform stank. Through the armpit of one sailor you can make out a grey silhouette of no description jutting out from the horizon. Your destination. I really like that image of looking through someone's armpit to see something in the distance. I don't know. It's a very random bit of information I included there, but do with it what you will. Do I sense a lack of faith? We never doubted, we doubted, or just keep our mouths shut. We doubted just a little bit. Well, I guess I better apologise. Your ocean traversal skills are unmatched. The captain isn't sure what to make of your response. You sense a snarky response forming in his mind, slowly. Apology accepted. Now if you'll excuse me. That was unexpected. Well, not for me, but hopefully for you. The captain storms off and begins yelling at the sailors who've congregated to starboard side. A collective groan emerges before they slowly disperse, moving back to their assigned tasks. With the men gone, you finally have a good view of your destination. You imagine you'd feel relieved right now. You don't feel anything at all. Damn. This game's a bit of a downer. Look out to sea and reminisce, or head back to our cabin. Let's look out to sea. You walk to the edge of the ship. Below is a dark abyss, cold and unforgiving. Your eyes drift upwards and the mainland comes into view. Tall mountains, barely perceptible through the haze. Maybe at night you'd be able to see the lights from the towns, but for now it is entirely dead. A shiver runs down your spine as a great shadow passes over the vessel. You're a long way from home, Picture Man. I think this game wants me to feel bad. Reminisce. Close your eyes and focus on the world that once was. You cannot get a clear image, just vague feelings and an ever-present sense of unease. There's no warmth for you here. Yeah, nostalgia's overrated. Right, enough sad writing. You open your eyes and head back to the cabin to prepare your things. There isn't a whole lot to prepare. The only thing you brought with you is your camera and the clothes on your back. You take a seat on the side of the bed and drift away into thoughts of hope and nihility. A few hours pass. A knock on the door rips you back to reality. Get out of here. Your time on this ship is up. And this dude sucks. You jump off the bed, grab your camera case, and head out into the hall following the captain. On the main deck, the sailors are in a frenzy, running, yelling, and pulling ropes. One particularly unstable man appears ready to jump off and swim to shore. Men, get our guest onto one of the rowboats and take him to shore. Be quick about it. If I see a word that's all capitalized, I'm not going to yell, because it's just not who I am. 3 sailors appear from behind you and direct you towards a rowboat in the water beside the ship. One by one, you climb down the ladder and take your place in the rickety vessel. The captain stands atop his ship looking down at you. Good luck. I've heard this place isn't too friendly to strangers. I'll be careful, or is it dangerous? Where's the captain going now? Let's go for the world building answer. See you around? No, you won't. This ship's going south, way south. Well, that wasn't really a world building bit of text. I guess we know south exists in this world now. Feel farewell or lovely? Lovely. That's good to hear. I look forward to not seeing you again. That's another thing in this game. The dialogue choices very rarely reflect exactly what you're going to say, which is intentional. I think it's like another interesting way to like make the writing more dynamic is you have to kind of understand the main character, because you aren't the main character, you're just like inhibiting their psyche for the duration of this game, so you have to understand the main character and understand that when they pick that option, or when you pick that option, that the main character isn't going to say what you think, they're going to say what they think. So in this case, lovely could mean many things, but in the case of the main character, it meant being a snarky prick. The captain doesn't reply. He just laughs and tips his hat before walking away. Another anecdote. Originally, I had him waving instead of tipping his hat, but then someone told me that people didn't actually wave during this time period, or the time period this game is based on. And that was a pretty big revelation to me, because I had so many characters waving in this game, so I had to go and rewrite a lot of things. But it was actually a fun little historical detail. But yeah, people just tip their hat, and if they don't tip their hat, I don't know what they do. Row, 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 shout the sailors in unison. Slowly the boat veers away from the ship. The silhouette of land you saw earlier comes into view, far more detailed now. You're around 200 meters away from the beach. Beyond that is what appears to be a small town, and even further in the distance are mountains. You suddenly become aware of just how cold it is. The coat you're wearing does little to help. The coat will become a recurring theme, but we'll get there later. Oh, look at that camera transition. That's very... Someone told me it looked like the Game of Thrones intro. And that's unintentional, but that's like the perfect comparison anyway. Anyway, 5 minutes pass before you reach the shore. The men beach the rowboat on the sand and jump out. Should we give our farewell, or should we be quiet? Let's keep quiet. You step out of the boat and grab your camera case. 3 sailors stare at you, expecting you to say something. They're met with silence. Wow. One of the sailors calls you a cunt under his breath, and all of them climb into the rowboat and head it back out to sea. That caught me off guard. Yes, this game is set in like a fictional version of the Old West, but there's a lot of Australianisms in it. Case in point, cunt. You're left alone on the beach with the entire world in front of you. Which way now, Picture Man? And then... Part 1. The world is my oyster. I mean, we'll see if that's the case or not. This is the part of the game where you're let loose. I mean, you're not really, because there's another mandatory conversation coming up, but yeah. I really like how this looks. This is not my... When I started making the game, I didn't really want it to be like like figurines, but kind of just lent towards it as the game developed, and it's probably a good choice. Looks very nice. It's also just fun to like wiggle them about. Anyway, continuing. Walking up the beach and off into the town, a woman appears in front of you, seemingly out of nowhere. Hi. Hello, Frida. Before I continue reading, I'll point out the general store. Well, you don't know it's the general store yet, but the building in the background there, that's the general store, made by Reagan. I did all the textures, which texturing in this game was unbelievably simple. Just had a smart material and substance painter that I threw on literally every object, and gave it that kind of old semi-paperish look. But yeah, making the art for this game was probably like nowhere near as much work as it would be for most games, just because it was very straightforward. Hello. Hi, Frida. Where did she come from? Yeah, where did she come from? Hello. Where did you come from? Oh, sorry if I scared you. I was sitting by the pier and saw you walking this way. She points to her right where an old and decrepit pier sticks out into the water. Yes, it's certainly decrepit. You came from the ship over there, right? And this is one of these recurring themes throughout the game of lying for no reason. So it's pretty obvious we came from the ship, but we can lie about it either way. No, not sure what you're talking about, Frida. Well, where did you come from then? Yeah, she's not having any of it. Why did you lie about that? What did you have to gain from saying anything but the truth? Should we come clean or should we lie harder? Let's come clean. Sorry, I lied. I did come from the ship over there. Okay. Well, it's nice to meet you. Yes, this is also a funny game. I mean, not super funny, but I think a game, when I'm writing a game that's this bleak, I kind of just, it's just inevitable that I'm going to inject some humor into it because it would be a very awful experience otherwise. I just think I'm not a very serious person, so it's like in my nature to shove jokes in everywhere, no matter what I do, even if they're not funny. She ought to have her hand for you to shake. Yeah, let's shake her hand. Let's stop being mean. Likewise. She gives you a warm smile. Her eyes are tired but friendly. I'm just going to talk about the character portrait for a second. I mentioned Days of Heaven earlier, which was a Terrence Malick film. Now I'm going to mention another one of his films, Badlands. In that film, the main character, Sissy Spacek, I think I said that wrong, but that's basically who I base this character on. Not the personality, just like the visual design. That was how I did most of the characters. I would find a movie character. It's very like straightforward and boring. I just go like scroll through IMDb for a film I'd seen and go, hey, that character looks cool. And then I would do like a photo shoot of myself doing all the poses I wanted, or I would do a bunch of different poses for the character, like how I wanted them to stand in the portrait, and then I would pick the best one. I mean, I would send that to Qua, the pose of me, and also like the movie reference or the character reference. And then Qua would merge those together to create an image. And you probably wouldn't guess the inspiration for this character for Frida. Like, she doesn't really look like Sissy Spacek, but that's for the best, because if I had my way, literally every character would just be like a carbon copy of some random movie. Anyway, tangent over. Let's find out who she is. Mind if I ask who you are? Oh yes, apologies. Should have told you that first. My name's Frida. My husband runs the general store over there. Husband. She points to an old wooden building facing the ocean. A stiff breeze could blow it over at any moment, you think. There's a man sitting on the bench next to the door. His eyes are set on you. Must be her husband. Should we ask about him or should we wave? We're the only character in this game who knows how to wave. Let's wave to him. Let's be weird. You hold up your hand. The man does not return the gesture. Yeah, he probably doesn't know what you're doing. You will remember this transgression. Alright, let's ask about him. Who's that man sitting over there? That's my husband. Don't mind him. He spends most of his time there. Yeah, he's scary. Or should we be nice about the scary man? You know what? He can go fuck himself. Well... Yeah, we're doing the funny playthrough. I'll tell you one thing. He's got a lot of nerve. That's an instance of the choice you choose not entirely aligning with what the character says, but it's character building, because those dialogue choices are basically what he's thinking at that moment, and you don't always say what you're thinking, and it's probably best that you don't say that, because you'll probably end up getting shot or something, especially in a world like this. Don't take it personally. It's like that to everyone he doesn't know. Now, would you mind if I ask some questions about yourself? It's not every day a stranger just washes up on our shores. Yippee. Question away. We're entering the exposition portion of the intro. Which, I mean, it was inevitable. We haven't had visitors in this town for weeks. Sorry if I seem suspicious, but what exactly are you doing here? I'm a photographer. I've been sent by the king of my country to capture the New World and all the people in it. Very straightforward, really. I use New World here to refer to the continent this game is set on, which in the real world, usually like you'd use New World to refer to the Americas. Well, not anymore, but in the past you would. And this game is not set in the Americas, it's set in a fictional world based on the Americas. So I thought, well, calling it the New World would make that more obvious. It must be important then. I'm not so sure you've landed in the best town to photograph though. Whatever could she mean? Or should we just look for ourselves? Let's ask what she means. Really? Why do you say that? Well, there aren't too many people here. Most of them left years ago. Either east into the mountains searching for gold or toward a big river down south. Big river, I wonder what that means. She hasn't left, or should we say nothing? Yeah, why is she still here? But you're still here? She glances up toward the general store where her husband sits, still staring. He does a lot of staring. It's a place for everyone in the world, and mine is here. Yeah. That's very, resigned. Where's my place in the world? Behind your camera. Good answer, brain. Say, before you go off on your adventure, would you object to taking my photograph? It would make my day. Don't object or object, because we're a cunt. Let's not object, we're not that bad. It would be my pleasure. Really? Oh, thank you, thank you. She adjusts her posture and begins practicing poses. Just do our job. Let's take it at the end of the pier with the ocean in the background. Ooh, look at that camera transition. It's probably my favourite in the game. Probably my favourite shot in the game. And I'm looking at it now, I'm realising it looks like a chocolatey ocean. The whole game is very chocolatey now that I think about it. Or like the brown tones. It looks very edible. That's a new thought that's just entered my brain, so, you know, you're getting cutting edge analysis right now. You pull your camera out of its case and unfold the tripod. Freda is standing at the end of the pier, ready. Slowly you slide the dry plate into the back of the camera, then look through the lens to make sure everything is ready. Yeah, this is old school photography, so you can't just press a button and the picture's done. You gotta like stand around for a while, but the game explains that in a second, so I'll wait till then. Take the picture. You remove the cover from the lens and wait. The wind dies down and everything in the world is still. Is it done? I'm getting cold standing out here. Nope. Don't move a muscle till I say so. She does exactly that. 10 seconds pass and the negative is done. Okay, she can move now. You can move now. She runs back up the pier to stand beside you. Can I see the picture? I've never had my photo taken before. Oh. She doesn't know how photography works. Which, I'm not sure how accurate that is. I wasn't alive during this time period. So maybe everyone knew how cameras worked, but in this world they don't. Yeah, we have to let her down, so... Let her down easy. Well, you see, Frida, I need to keep the dry plates in their casing for the time being, so I'm afraid it isn't possible right at this very moment. Dry plate, you lost me. Let's get the simple version because the great detail is very long. It's a piece of glass the photograph is exposed onto. It needs to remain in its case until I can get to a dark room and develop it. I'm going to give a shout out to the YouTube channel Technology Connections because he has a video entirely on dry plate photography or like old school photography, and that was extremely helpful because before writing this I had no idea how dry plate photography worked. So thank you Technology Connections for telling me how cameras work and telling me how to use my dishwasher as well. So you're saying I can't see the picture? Yep. No, you cannot see the picture, sorry. Smile on Frida's face quickly fades. You've ruined the day of the first person you met. Well done. Won't be the first. Oh, well that's okay. Try and make her feel better. When I develop it, I'll try and get a copy sent to you. It might take a while, that's all. I'm not sure what the postal service is like in this world, but I don't think it's very good. So the chances of her actually getting a copy of that picture are very slim. That would be nice, thank you. The words don't mask her disappointment. Yeah, I don't think Frida has much faith in the postal service either. Alright, time to go. We've ruined enough people's days. I think I'd better be off now. It's nice to meet you, Frida. I'll be seeing you. You should drop by the store and speak to my husband before you leave town. He'll be able to help you with them things, I'm sure of it. Oh, that's where the dude who didn't wave at us is, so... Nah, fuck him. No thanks, goodbye. You walk up the pier toward the town. Waves crash into the rocks, spraying mist into the air. Crow caws in the distance. There are a lot of crows in this game. And they're very obviously representing death. Alright, we're free to go now, but... I'm not going to go to any of these places yet, so I'm going to read. That's right. All these characters have their own little portraits. These are all the characters you'll meet. Currently question marks until you meet them. Let's read Frida's. I didn't expect to meet such a friendly face when I stepped off the boat. The way people had explained this continent to me, I was preparing to be physically assaulted the second I stepped foot onto land. Maybe that comes later. Either way, Frida was a welcome surprise. Her husband, on the other end, bit of foreshadowing. Very blatant foreshadowing. Yeah, these are meant to like represent, I suppose, like diary entries from the main character. They change throughout the game depending on the character's fate or like what happens to them. So Frida's, not to spoil anything, but Frida's changes. There's a few different variations on her diary entry based on what happens later on. And I'm going to point out all the little details around the photo. They all have their own little subtitle, every image. So like, the captain says, Captain Ketch on the good ship Greyhound, the good ship Lollipop, and proprietress of the Cascade General Store. And then the number on the bottom left is like representative of like the number. It's kind of like sequential, so the captain's is lower because his photo got taken way earlier in the trip. I think I might have messed up a few because you can play the game in a semi-random order at points, so the numbers don't always match, but yes. And the 026 in the top left, I implied that was the year, but I didn't add like a 1900 or an 1800, so 026 is like a, well, this is a fictional world, so I don't think they follow the Gregorian calendar. They probably have their own weird thing. g6 represents. And I think I'll leave it there for this episode because this is a long game and I would be here for like 4 hours reading all this in one go. So stay tuned for the next episode. It'll be a good one.